Hey, good morning to everybody. Happy Wednesday. It's Daryl here. It is bright and freaking early, man. It's 3 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. Okay, this morning I came across a news story on TMZ, and as usual, the links will be right down below along with the videos. It's TMZ videos, TMZ story right down below. Those were the best ones I could find. And I had a lot of links. I had a lot of similar situations happen to me, and that's what I want to talk about. I'll describe the video to you guys first, and this doesn't surprise me at all. Let me start with this. I have been clean and sober for 17 and a half years, leading a good, honest, clean life now. I'm 58 years old. Before I was 40, when I got clean and sober, from the time I was a teen till I was 40, for over 2.5 decades, I led a pretty hardcore life. I was addicted to heroin and crack cocaine, drinking, going to the bars. I'd usually go to the bars, and then after the bars, we'd go to what they called after hours clubs, which were run by motorcycle clubs, as they like to be called, like HA, Diablos, Compadres, all sorts of clubs around here. And I would go to some of those clubs, and I'd go to some of the street gang clubs, the Almighty Latin King Nation, and some other clubs. And I'm not proud of it, but this is where I used to hang out. And I led a pretty hard life. I got in a lot of altercations. I'm 6'3", 6'4", and I'm basically a quiet guy, but I ended up getting in a lot. A lot of times when you're the tallest guy in a bar, trouble tends to find you. And I never talk about, one thing I'll never talk about in this video is when I've won altercations. I've never felt good about winning a fight. I've never felt good about walking away and leaving somebody crumpled up on the ground. But I will talk about how I've been beaten down. You know, I've lost plenty of fights too, and that's what I'm going to talk about in this video. Let me tell you about the video right now that I'm going to show you, because I've got a lot of things in common with this video. This was on Hollywood Boulevard, and for a time when I was 21, and again when I was about 24 years old, I was in Hollywood, out in California, and San Francisco, San Jose, but I spent time on Hollywood Boulevard. I'll try to put some pictures of me hanging out on Hollywood Boulevard in the thumbnail. And I've been in a fight just like this. Okay, let me describe the video to you here on TMZ. It describes it as brutal and, you know, like shocking. And to me, it reminds me of the saying. I don't like this saying because I hear a lot of times I hear people say this, and I don't feel like they know what they're talking about. F around and find out. Did you ever hear it? You hear that a lot of times now, and I kind of hate hearing that, because usually the people I hear say that are just kind of like they don't know what they're talking about, like they haven't been there. But in this situation, that's what this is street life. This is a street fight, and I don't find anything shocking at all. It happened to me. Okay, so in this video, to me, there's two videos. There's one at the beginning where these people are crossing a street, and there's a guy in a hat, and he seems to be looking for a fight. He's taunting the people crossing the street, and he's getting in their way. He's bouncing, like they're walking straight across the road, and he's bent over, and he's yelling at them, and he's in their face. And they go around him, and he moves over, and he's looking for a fight. Okay, this is F around, and you find out. And like I said, I'll tell you how this happened. The same thing happened to me. And he ends up getting sprayed. I carry this stuff with me all. Like I said, I've got a lot of things. I've got almost everything in common with this video, like the Hollywood Boulevard, the spray, and what happens to this guy. I've gone through all this stuff. Okay, so the guy gets sprayed, all right, and he can't see. Okay, so now things, you know, he pushed it a little too far. This is a street fight. You know, when you push things too far, you're fighting for your life. You know, this isn't a boxing ring. This isn't play school. This is the real thing. And I've seen a lot worse happen to people. I'll talk about that too in a second, as much as I can. Okay, so now another guy ends up fighting with this guy that got sprayed in the face, the guy that was looking for a fight. And the guy goes down, he gets hit a few times, and he goes down because he can't see he's been sprayed in the face. He was looking for a fight, and he got it. And he's down on the ground, and his leg is bent behind him, like he just crumpled. He is unconscious. You know, his leg is bent underneath him, and his head is laying on the ground right here. And the guy just gets on top of him, and you see the guy's head going like this. And that was me, man. As I watched this video, it was me. All right, like I said, I don't see anything surprising or shocking by this. When you screw around on the streets, when you push things too far, you push people too far, this is what happens. This is the result of that. You know, whenever I got in a fight when I was younger, I knew you have to stay up. You know, the moment you go down, you could lose everything. You could lose your life. You know, you're fighting for everything here. It's win everything or lose everything. Okay, so with me, this was over a girl. I found out the girl I was dating was partying with one of my best friends in the basement. I was waiting for her to come home. It was like 2 a.m. She hadn't come home yet. I got in my car. I'm driving around, and I see her car parked at the basement of my friend's house. I get out. I start with him. We go out into the roadway. My car is stopped in the middle of the road, smack in the middle of the road. So there's cars coming trying to go around my car, 2 a.m. And I start with my friend, right? And he's saying, Gerald, don't do this. You misunderstood, you know. I was buzzed. I had been smoking rock all night, and I had ran out, and I was all angry and everything. And he's telling me, you know, dude, don't do this. He said, there's a bunch of us down in there. Why don't you come in and have a beer, you know? Dude, you're misunderstanding this. And I'm like, F you, you know. And I start throwing swings. I'm swinging at him. And he's begging me, Gerald, don't do this. You know, we're in the middle of the road going around my car, and I'm not listening to him. So I got long. Like I said, I'm 6'4", and I've taken some martial arts lessons, and I start kicking with my heel, kicking him, and then coming in for a punch. And I'm buzzed, and I'm not fighting very well. And when, you know, he stops begging me, and I throw a kick, and he grabs my foot. You know, this is where I screw up. I kick him, and he grabs my foot, and he walks me back, and then flips me over, holding my leg, and flips me backwards. I go backwards. My head hits the back bumper of my car. Boom, and I go down on the ground. And at that point, I had pushed him too far. He had been begging me to stop doing this. And I'm like, F you, man, F you, you know, bam, bam, bam. So he gets on top of me. And he started doing this, bam. And then I remember him, I don't even know if I could say this. My head was like a soccer ball. He was standing up and he was just kicking my head. Bam, bam, bam. I just remember my head going like that, and I lost consciousness. Next thing I know is at the hospital. Apparently, I managed to get back in my car, and I drove the couple miles back to my house, and I lost consciousness in my front yard. And I got picked up by the ambulance and brought to the hospital. And next thing I knew, it was at the hospital. And, you know, as I sobered up, I realized it was all my fault. It was completely my fault. You know, like I said, I'm 6'4". My friend was like, you know, maybe 6'5", 11. You know, what would I have done? You know, I wouldn't stop. You know, so he had to stop me. He wanted to make sure that I didn't get back up. You know, I was being, this is the street. You F around and you find out. You know, and I didn't blame him. The next day, I didn't blame him for it. It was all my fault. Matter of fact, the next day, I called him up and asked him to meet me at the bar for a beer. Thing is, you know, after something like that, our friendship has never been the same. You know, he moved to Florida. He's moved back here now and to Connecticut, and we don't talk. You know, he's clean and sober. I'm clean and sober. And I ruined our friendship. You know, after somebody, you know, after something like that, it's kind of hard to go back to a normal friendship, you know, after you've pummeled somebody quite that bad. I hope this video could still be monetized. Like I said, and, you know, so on TMZ, they're all shocked. You know, why hasn't this guy been arrested? Oh, my God. And to me, it's, you know, it's brutal. But it's not all that shocking, and I've seen worse. I've seen much worse. When people were unconscious on the ground, what could happen to them? And I'm not even going to describe that here. It's called a bottle opener, and I'll just leave it at that. Like from American X, American History, American X, I think it's a movie. Yeah, I've actually seen that happen. Yeah, and some other stuff. All right, like I said, the links to the video will be down below. Recovery is possible. I've been clean and sober for 17 and a half years, and they've been the best years of my life. I am happy. I live a clean and sober life, and things couldn't be better right now. So the recovery is possible. I'll be back later with another video. You guys have a good Wednesday.